2 days, then I can have them help the other guys more on other stuff rather than spending all week just cutting grass and weed whacking. What I'm kind of hope for and work towards, because then I can split some of the guys up and have them do separate things.
It's frustrating when you take so week you're done, you get there.
Can you turn that one, that microphone on?
Which one? Oh, that one.
6 minutes.
Cutting any trees?
Not right now, no. Just getting set up. I mean, I picked up a couple down ones, stuff like that, but not really cutting anything down.
Basically, branches are still falling.
I forget what my hearing aids.
We keep having rain and wind.
No,
Like, we can't have a nice day that doesn't seem like 30, 40 mile an hour winds. It's like, every time it
I
comes
put a
up,
wind turbine in my backyard. Mine went off.
it's been tough spraying.
I have count full.
So that's, you're talking about your cell phone?
Yes.
Yeah.
Did yours go up?
Yep.
Keep trying to go.
Yep.
In the woods, in the woods.
What's that?
I slept through it at my house in Brookfield. We woke up in the morning like, well, there was a tornado warning last night. Okay, well, we're here, we're fine.
Oh.
I really wasn't walking through anything super.
As soon as that came in,
Neighbors' dogs were
walked
getting a lot of things.
I got one on the hip.
Oh, they
Last week or the week
were
before.
broadcasting on the news all the bad weather, you know, all that fun stuff.
I found it when I showered in the morning, so it must
God,
have
they
been
were,
on
I
there all
think they
night,
were even
but it
preempting
wasn't burrowed.
into,
My dog got one.
you know,
Yeah, I put the stuff on my dog.
I did too, but.
spectrum for your cable TV.
Yeah.
that's the only option we have.
So I haven't noticed any on him. He doesn't hang out outside very often.
Stream, what
Multiple
service do you
baths
use?
and stuff and-
I'm just gonna.
I watched Pluto, I watched.
Oh, with Roku do you stream or?
Yeah,
Oh.
smart TVs. I got another Roku TV.
Among many other things.
You got time.
Oh, yeah.
And all my news channels.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
National Nude Gardening Day.
I'll get right on that.
You got a bunch of 80-year-old women bent over?
On Monday morning.
I've never heard of that before.
Sue
I
Fisher's
never heard
one
that.
that told me about it last year, yeah. Calvin Sue. They love you.
Wow. Wow. Did you see that kid on the news from McGonigal last night, that stacking cups?
Yeah, I saw that.
Oh my God, was that phenomenal? And blindfolded too.
What?
Oh, he
That's how
was,
they
he's in like the Olympics for stacking. He was really, that was really good.
First of all, I'll be.
It's all on you.
Oh, it was unbelievable to see him. Did you see it, Jeff?
No.
Oh, man, it was phenomenal.
What channel?
Channel
Or 12.
6.
6, I think 6.
6.
I don't know.
Here you go.
I don't watch local.
Hello, is Scott in the audience?
I tried.
I didn't get the weather right.
Oh,
That's right.
oh, gentlemen, it's 6:01. I'd like to, spread it on, right?
Yep.
Sir? I'd like to call the Village of Vernon board meeting to order. Today is Thursday, May 2nd at 6 p.m. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all. Brad, could you please do open meeting law compliance and roll call?
President Chu,
I'm here.
Trustee Pecca,
Here.
Trustee Finch,
Here.
Trustee Newman,
Here.
Trustee Millies. This meeting was noticed and posted according to law.
And we'll note for the record that obviously our clerk administrator is here and our DPW director. I just need to announce that we might have a possible closed session to consider or possibly action on a motion to convene into executive session under Wisconsin State Statutes 19.85(1)(c), considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation of data of any public employee over which the government body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibilities. More specifically, the DPW director, the Recreation director, DPW director, and clerk administrator. Including closed session will be members of the village board, DPW director, and clerk administrator. The clerk administrator and DPW may be excused from closed session as the action of the board. This motion would be a roll call vote and no action would be taken in closed session. I hope you don't mind, Scott, you had some public comments, right?
I do.
Do you mind if I do the proclamations real quick? There's 5 of them, because it's a busy month. The first agenda item is a proclamation from the municipal clerks of Wisconsin. And this proclamation states, whereas the Office of Professional Municipal Clerk, a time-honored and vital part of local government, exists throughout the world, and whereas the Office of Professional Municipal Clerk is the oldest among public servants, and whereas the Office of Professional Municipal Clerk provides professional link between the citizens, the local governing bodies, and the agencies of government at other levels, and whereas professional municipal clerks are pledged to be mindful of their neutrality and impartiality, rendering equal service to all, and whereas professional municipal clerk serves as the information center on functions of local government and the community, and whereas professional municipal clerks continue to strive to improve the administration of the affairs of the Office of Professional Municipal Clerks through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and the annual meetings of the state, provincial and country and international professional organizations. Whereas it's most appropriate that we recognize the accomplishments of the Office of Professional Municipal Clerk. Now therefore, I, Karen Shu, President of the Village of Vernon, do recognize the week of May 5th through the 11th, 2024 as Professional Clerk Week, and further extend our appreciation to the professional municipal clerks, Brad Calder, Linda Klingler, Sue Fisher, and Lynn Barnacle, and to all professional municipal clerks for the vital services they perform and the exemplary dedication to their communities they present. This date, May 2nd, 2024. Let's hear it for clerks. The next proclamation is for the National Police Week. To recognize the National Police Week 2024 and to honor the service and sacrifice of all those law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty while protecting our communities and safeguarding our democracy. Whereas there are more than 800,000 law enforcement officers serving in communities across the United States, including the dedicated members of the Waukesha County Sheriff's Department. And whereas the first recorded death in 1786, and there are currently 24,067 law officers in the United States have made the ultimate sacrifice and had been killed in the line of duty. And whereas the names of the dedicated public servants are engraved on the walls of the National Law Enforcement Officer Memorial in Washington, D.C. Whereas 282 names of the fallen officers have been added to the National Law Enforcement Officer Memorial this spring, including 118 officers killed in 2023 and 164 officers killed in previous years. Whereas the service and sacrifice of all killed in the line of duty are honored during the National Law Enforcement Memorial Fund 36 Candlelight Vigil on the evening of May 13, 2024. Whereas the Candlelight Vigil is part of the National Police Week, which is observed this year May 10th through May 16th. Whereas May 15th is designated as Peace Officers Memorial Day in honor of all the fallen officers and their families, the U.S. flags will be flown at half-staff. Now therefore, may it be resolved that May 10th through May 16th is National Police Week in the Village of Vernon and publicly salutes the service of law enforcement officer in our community and the communities across the nation. And I'm going to pass this for board members to, if you want to applaud. I need your signature and actual pieces. Yay! Yes, and then you pass it on. This is National Public Works Week, whereas public works professionals, I should make Brett stand right up here. Whereas a public work professional is focused on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are vitally important to the sustainability and resiliency of the communities and to the public health, high quality of life, and well-being of people of the Village of Vernon. And whereas these infrastructure, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector who who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste system, public buildings, and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. Whereas the public interest for citizens, civic leaders, and children of the Village of Vernon to gain knowledge of and maintain the ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas the year of 2020-24 marks the 64th annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association / Canada Public Works Association, be it now resolved by Karen Shu to hereby designate the week of May 19th through May 24th as National Public Works Week, and I urge all citizens to join with representatives of the American Public Works Association and government agency in activities, events, and ceremonies designed to pay tribute to our public works professionals, engineers, managers, employees, and to recognize the substantial contributions they make to protect our national health, safety, and quality of life. Therefore, I have unto my hand caused the seal of Vernon and the Village of Vernon on this day, May 2nd, 2024. Let's hear it from Public Work, guys. The next one is Emergency Management, Emergency Services Week. Whereas emergency medical service is a vital public service, and where members of the emergency medical teams are ready to serve life-saving care to those 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Whereas access to the quality of emergency care dramatically improves the survival and recovery rate of those who are experiencing sudden illness or injury, and whereas emergency medical services have grown to fill a gap by providing important out-of-hospital care, including preventative medicine, follow-up care, and access to telemedicine, and whereas emergency medical services consist of first responders, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, emergency medical dispatchers, firefighters, police officers, educators, administrators, pre-hospital nurses, emergency physicians, trained members of the public, and out-of-the-hospital Medicare providers. And whereas the members of the emergency medical services teams, whether career or volunteer, engage in thousands of hours of specialized training and continuing education to enhance the life-saving skills, and whereas it's appropriate to recognize and value the accomplishments of emergency medical services providers as designated in Emergency Medical Services Week. Therefore, I, Karen Shu, President of the Village of Vernon and the Village Board, in recognition of this event, do hereby proclaim the week of May 19th through May 25th, 2024 is Emergency Medical Services Week. With the EMS theme, EMS Week is honoring our past and building our future. We encourage the community to observe this week with appropriate programs, celebrations, and activities. Adopted this second day of May 2024. I'll pass this on for your signature. Round of applause for EMS people. One more, guys. This is a biggie. This is really important. This is our proclamation for Memorial Day 2020-24. Whereas on Memorial Day, we remember the patriots who gave their lives in the service of America, in the service of freedom and the service of justice. They made the ultimate sacrifice to defend our Constitution and our democracy. We are free because they were brave, and we live by the light of the flame of liberty that they kept burning. They are all heroes, and our nation is forever grateful. And whereas those who wear the uniform of the United States Armed Forces know the pride of service and what it means to dedicate themselves to a cause greater than themselves, these women and men put their lives on the line for the idea of America. They are the best of us. And whereas on Memorial Day, we vow to honor these memories and support the families, caregivers, and survivors they left behind. As we honor these memories of our fallen heroes, we are grateful for the future they made possible for us, and we dedicate ourselves to seeking enduring peace. Our heroes gave their lives for our country, and they will live forever in our hearts, forever proud, forever honorable, and forever American. Now therefore, on May 27, 2024, the Village Board proclaims Memorial Day on May 27, 2024, as the day when Vernon residents honor the memories of our fallen heroes and all those who dedicate their lives to the American way. Adopted May 2nd, 2024. I'll pass this on. And Brad, after they're signed, do you mind posting these?
We'll post them.
That sound good? Oh, one Memorial Day. Okay, now we have public comments. Scott, would you like to make public comments?
Sure.
And Scott, we know you are, but if you could, just for the record, state your name and address.
Good evening. Scott Robinson. Address is W223S9810 Big Bend Drive, Vernon. So for you guys, that's right on 164, just about where the river comes up against 164. I purchased the property back in 2013. The original use was for me to run my small construction business, and because there were accessory buildings on the property, I also applied for some storage. The house on the property was really the main reason. I had a friend who was getting divorced, and he said combining him living in the house would really help him out, and the building really helped out for us being all on one property. Since then, I've sold my house in Muskego, got divorced, and I'm now living on the property myself in the house with my son. I got engaged last June to Mary Ann, and last October we decided that we were going to build a house on the property. In doing so, we moved forward with applying for a building permit to put a house on the property, and I guess the best way to put it was the education began. And what I'm asking tonight is that I be put on the agenda for the May 16th meeting, so I can discuss with you guys, the village board, the series of events that happened since then, with applying for the building permit, the obstacles, the hurdles, the costs, the change in what was defined as a change in use in the property, which really has not taken place, and the costs incurred with that, the obstacles for delaying the breaking of ground till this mid-March or so. It's just been kind of a whirlwind, and it's been a very educational process, frustrating process that's been filled with anxiety and stress. And I think that you guys should hear it and understand what a village property owner is going through when they're in my circumstance. That's all. So I'm just asking to be put on the agenda for the May 16th meeting so we can discuss this. It's kind of in two parts. One has to do with the building permit for the house. The other has to do with the conditional use permits I have on the property. You know, they kind of go into one, but I think that they would probably be better suited to talk about each one individually, and then you guys can you will understand how they kind of come together. But Mary Ann and I are hopefully by the end of the year going to be in our new house and having everything straightened out by then.
Sounds good. Scott, if we don't respond, we're just complying with the open meetings law response, but it will be on the agenda for May 16th.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Mary Ann, did you want to say anything? I'm sorry.
Oh.
You're okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
You don't want her to speak.
Thank
Good night,
you.
guys.
Take care.
Good night.
Okay, board members, the next agenda item we have is Resolution 2024-4, resolution to amend the schedule of deposits according to Section 1.7 of the Municipal Code. This is what we met on the other day and kind of worked on. We all decided too that there were some others that we'd like to look at in the future, but these were the ones that Riley Schmidt, our deputy from the Waukesha County Sheriff's Department, asked us to update as soon as possible. And the first resolution I sent to Brad was the wrong one, because I wanted to specifically highlight it not only for the board, but usually these resolutions are contingent on, our attorney review and always contingent on Mark Powers, the judge's review also. So I thought it'd be easier for the village board and the attorney and the judge if we highlighted the changes, that we made. Is there anything that I missed or? So, with that, at this point, I would entertain a motion to adopt resolution 2020-24-4, a resolution to amend the schedule of deposits according to section 7.1 of the municipal code, contingent on, municipal legal review and a review and approval of, Mark Howard, our municipal judge. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Second by, trustee Finch. Discussion from the board? Hearing none, all three of the motions signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Our next agenda item is ordinance number 2024-12, an ordinance to repeal and recreate chapter 249, peddlers, canvassers, and transient merchants in the Village of Vernon Municipal Code. I did talk to the administrator in the Village of Lisbon, and they're in the process, she asked me for our ordinance, and they're going to adopt the same ordinance, but they wanted to know if they'd be happy to share the legal review with that ordinance with the village, split the cost with the Village of Lisbon and Village of Vernon.
Are they gonna be worded the same?
Oh, yeah. And the other thing, the only thing that Kathy is doing is we're looking to see who has adopted resolutions. Not that we're cheap, but if those resolutions have already had legal review, we want to capture that or work with another municipality to share the cost. Jay?
Yeah, now, is that an ordinance for, like, anybody over 18 that they have to have a permit or whatever?
Yeah, it was in your packet. It covers any type of sale. And if there are exemptions, one of the exemptions that Riley asked us for is a definition of the exempt, your Girl Scouts, your Boy Scouts, and it
I'm not
does.
concerned about that.
And I am looking, I know one of the things that trustee Newman talked about was those peddlers that are coming when someone's having a fire. And I did talk to John Macy, and he said we should have a standalone resolution. I'm trying to find one, and I will. A resolution that stands alone, and then we would implement that fee in our fee schedule also. But this covers everything. Even that's just started in Vernon where, I've only had one call. Brad, did you get any calls from like Pina's, places that sell, they have a restaurant and they do like food trucks, or sometimes they go to job sites. This ordinance would cover that also. Have you gotten any calls?
No, I've had people like ask about private events where they're not selling to the public, but I've not had anybody inquire about sale on the street.
So obviously all of our ordinance by a motion made and a memo adopted on anytime we do an ordinance, it always says legal review because it's a legal document. How about if I make a motion and somebody can second, we go into discussion on this ordinance. I'd make a motion to adopt ordinance number 2024-12, an ordinance to repeal and recreate chapter 249, the peddlers, canvassers, and transient merchants in the Village of Vernon Code, contingent on legal review, and with the understanding we will share the cost with the Village of Lisbon. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Is there, now, board members, any discussion? Is there something you'd like to add to that ordinance, or something you didn't like, or?
Well, I think if somebody had like a house fire or whatever, they would have like
No, what Dylan was talking about is, go ahead, Dylan, you want to explain what happened to you?
Yeah, so long story short, while the fire was still going on and the sheriff's department had the street all blocked off, a builder had showed up saying that they were with my insurance company, or that my insurance company had called them and trying to get me to sign documents contracting the rebuild, which was not true.
No.
So we need to protect people and make sure that that's not possible.
No, because the people are under duress and stuff.
Exactly.
It's like that, and they don't need people bothering them.
Well, and the good thing in Dylan's case, and I know I was on the phone with Assistant Chief Hayes when one of those peddlers were at a fire in Morningstar subdivision, and Patrick did tell him to leave the property. Probably not the most professional way, but he was very angry because, Bill, as you know, when they're fighting a fire, they're busy.
Alex said something similar when
somebody with a clipboard.
They don't need to be bothered by outside.
Right, because and Brad did put in John's letter to the board's questions. Brett also put in the legal opinion from the League of Municipalities. So, and if John finds anything in that ordinance, you know, he'll let the board know. But this way too, in that ordinance, if they meet all the standards there, that they don't have any record, Brad can approve those. He always puts the badges up on the website, notifies the board of, you know, so everybody's aware. The board members would know of approved peddler's permit before the public, but once Brad approves them, he'll make a document that you can see all the peddlers. Jay, I'm sorry.
Like with the peddlers, with the fires, whatever, I'd like to see that applied to that if we had a tornado that went through the village too. You know?
Yeah, it's usually listed as an emergency situation. You know, and it's really, I mean, I hate to say this, but it's really, really difficult to get somebody in when there's an emergency. It's extremely difficult. It's not difficult when there's a fire, but it's, you know, it's a lot tougher when there's a community disaster then. But we'll look into that also.
So if the area is blocked off, you know, they can just park right there and then walk right up to the house.
But usually there's the only reason I state this is, there's a parameter that if you have an emergency, that if you go into an emergency situation, it's not like the edge, I mean, there's a big parameter where it's set back and, you know.
Roads are closed.
Right.
Okay.
It's not like going to a fire, like Dylan said, the roads were closed. Well, they go up to as close as they can get, park their car, and they walk up. And they do that, they've done that several times. And our department's real good about saying, please leave the premises, you have no right to be here. And they leave. But at least
They try,
this way.
though.
And that way too,
They come running.
if we have the ordinance, that's something we could laminate and have for, of course, I don't know if the chiefs would use it, but as long as they have the power, they could find out who that person is, and they could get a citation for that. So, and it's sad that somebody would take advantage of someone that's in that type of situation, but.
Not for my use, I hope I don't have any more fires, but in the future, we could just find them really good and then give
Right.
80% of the check to the person or something like that.
Joe, when you went something like that, you're under enough arrest.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't need outsiders fired.
So that's why, I just wanted to explain the board, and John did state we should have a standalone, that's why it's not in this, because there's a special ordinance for that, so.
Yeah.
Is there any further discussion on the motion that's on the floor regarding adoption of this ordinance? No further discussion, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The next agenda item, I talked to Alex Nicholas, he's our new agent for LPI, and Brad's gonna be emailing you, and board members are having the letter available if anybody contacts him, on encouraging businesses that we know that, hey, would you consider doing, you know, a ad in the village newsletter? So that's gonna be sent to you. I've got about 17 businesses that said, hey, I was never contacted, who knows? But I'm gonna email that to them, to the businesses, copy Alex and see what happens. Or if you want Brad to email it out to someone, but just give them the list so that we're not, you know, sending it. I'm gonna give Brad my list so he knows who I'm gonna email it to. And then, I won't email you, won't you? I'm sure you get hit every 15 minutes, but, that's the only reason that's on the agenda, but I wanted to, is there any questions in regards to that, or? The only other person too, I was gonna email it to the Lions Club, because they always wanna be in our newsletter, and I put that on the staff agenda, so John Macy could explain that, but if the Lions Club wanted to buy an ad and refer to their website, and at their events, you know.
But they have to buy.
Buy an ad, yes,
Okay.
yes.
That's what I told them.
Yeah, and then, like I said, at the staff meeting, I wanted to put that on the agenda. I know Brad and Jeff, you probably heard it, Dylan, a million, but it's good for, you know, Gary and Jay to hear from the attorney. And if you guys have any questions that you can understand why the attorney said, you know. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So really, there's no action. I just wanted to let you know, because they did change years ago their procedure. They'd contact Brad, and Brad would give them a list of the vendors, and they'd come here and dial on the phone. In this day and age, that's kind of silly. So just so you, because I'd like to get more advertisers in our newsletter. Jeff,
At least advertise with the rates,
what's that?
advertise with the rates, what it costs for ad this size, you know, or
It's
something.
on there. Yeah, that's all on there, and it is negotiable. So if you get somebody, they said, well, I like this, but he said he would negotiate. But that's between, you know, LPI and that, you know, say if they do a 3-year ad, well, you know, should do something. But I'm gonna give the list of the people that I'm gonna email it to Brad, so he knows who I'm gonna send it to. That way, if board members say, hey, let's send it out to Joe Schmo's, you know, septic system, Brad can say, well, Karen Alla had Joe Schmo on her list, but, does that make sense, guys? So you'll get that from Brad, and, or if anybody calls Brad, Brad will have the form, and, does that sound good?
Take all those value pack ads you get in that envelope.
So there's really no action, and then, next agenda item, I just wanted to see how the board felt about this, because as the public knows, we can't call each other up and say, hey, what do you think about this? And if you guys don't like the idea, that's fine with me. But we don't have anything that was adopted as our official logo, you know, like Generations of Pride or Families, you know, whatever Vernon stands for.
That's not our official logo.
That's the town. We don't have anything for the village.
Well, we just change it to the Village of Vernon versus.
You could, but I kind of would like to ask the public. I mean, this was done by one person who was a child of someone on the board. It would be kind of nice to, I think, to open it up, because we have a lot of people in Vernon that are extremely artistic. And if they came up with a design, we could put it in the following newsletter and ask people, you know, their opinion, and it'd be nice to have a logo like Vernon, the community of wonderful people, or everyone's.
You remember when, well, at least when I was a kid, you know, like people had those, you know, long, thin, stickers that said "Escape to Wisconsin." You remember those?
No, I don't.
Oh, I mean.
Jeff does.
I remember those, yeah.
I mean, I was just
Oh,
thinking, I was just thinking, you know, I have like one of those stickers saying "Escape the Burning."
Oh, like I said, whatever.
Escape the Burning. Think of it like, you know, like if you're living in West Dallas and all these other.
We probably don't wanna put that in there,
Yep.
because.
So, like I said, I mean, if the board thinks this is a good idea, I would
Jeff's
write
gonna
a-
have it where every time you search it, pulls Edgewood Golf Course. Escape the Vernon Edgewood Golf Course.
So if the board thinks it's a good idea, if the board thinks it's a good idea, what I would do is write up a little article, and, you know, they'd submit everything to Brad, and then, we put it in the next newsletter to have people vote on it. I have them, you know, available at the village hall. What do you think? If you don't like it, that's fine with me, but I just wanted your opinion.
I think it's fine.
I think it's fine.
Okay,
I'm indifferent.
so by the consensus of the board, we'll,
You might find the next Picasso.
As long as we don't have to spend a bunch of money, I'm in.
I'm not kidding. Some of the people that I know, phenomenal artists. You know, in fact, I'd like to ask them if they'd submit some, that's how good they are. I mean, I am sure there's other ones. You wouldn't want to have me do a logo, it'd be
Oh, me
awful. Jay?
You know, Karen, someone that was really good in art.
Stick figure.
When we were out of town also. I can remember Karen was really good at making like PowerPoints or whatever when we had
Yep.
stuff on that cable channel. She was really good at that.
Right. So, is it the consensus of the board that I put an article in the newsletter, and we solicit ideas for a village logo and a village motto? Okay.
You looking for a motion or a second?
Yeah, let's do a motion.
I'll make that,
I'll second it.
however you wanna phrase that.
You got it, Fred?
Sure.
Okay. That was
I'll make
mo-
it sound good.
Yeah, okay. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Deadline for village board and plan commission packets. Brad, do you have a time, that's one thing that we'd like to get, you know, when you could, is it possible that you could have packets together the Friday before our board meeting?
I think that's always the goal.
Yeah, because I mean, because, I mean, I know we got some stuff really late, I think I couldn't even look at it, but I mean, if we had, and board members, when would you, I mean, do you want it the Monday of, the Friday before, what works for you, because I don't know your schedules. Gary?
I have a question. If we do it on a Friday, and there's an AP that comes up or something like that,
That goes in manual checks.
just goes to manual checks then, and we can still take care of it then.
Absolutely.
That Thursday. Okay, do you wanna make it for both planning commission and the
Well, that's what I,
village board at the same day?
that's what I was asking Brad too, if that's a possibility, that you could have them done that Friday
Yeah.
before. That's the goal. I mean, God, if something comes up, you know, where somebody has an emergency or the village hall blows up, we give Brad about a half hour at least. But that works for you, Brad?
Yeah, it should.
Okay. So do you want a motion, Brad, or do we just?
Sure. I mean, if you guys want, yeah.
Does somebody want to I'll make a motion that, our village board and plan commission packets, be available the Friday before, their scheduled meeting, unless there's an emergency. Is there a second to that motion?
Everybody's second.
I'll give it to, trustee Pecca. Discussion, all in favor of that motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And Brad, if something does come up, just shoot an email
Yeah.
that, I'll get them out Monday. I mean, we understand that things happen, right guys? Because you have a giant staff of 3 people.
Yeah.
Alrighty then, the next agenda item is Village of Vernon website and Facebook. Jay, did you want to speak to this, or?
Yes, well, I don't know who's in charge of that website or whatever, but I do want to say that that website is the hub of all information in the village here. And the taxpayers are paying us money to keep it maintained. And I feel we have an obligation to keep that website updated, you know, to the fullest point every day, practically. Like, it's got to be 24/7. And we are getting complaints that the website is not been updated with old information. And, you know, if the people can't get it off the website, people are frustrated, and then they have to call in to the office. But the office staff, you know, they got their work to do, and they can't keep up with the high volumes of calls. So whatever can be done is we have to get that website cleaned up and updated.
What,
as soon as possible.
I guess what needs to be updated that we're getting complaints on, so we can focus on that.
I can't remember offhand.
I know we're finally getting caught up on minutes. They've been lagging for a long time.
And then we'll probably get those put on to
Yeah.
back minutes, so.
The website is hard to navigate. I'll find looking for something, like, where in the heck is this? And it takes me 10 minutes to usually find it. That's not
That's trying to
what I
find the
think it
wood,
should be,
the wood chips. Try to find the wood chip page in there for some reason. I have trouble with here finding it, so. Probably should just go through it and see what you need and how.
Yeah, I mean, if it's hard to find, I mean, that's not necessarily, you know, an update thing, that's more of mapping out the website and that, so. But I mean, if there's stuff that you guys come across in there that you find that's not, you know, old information or not accurate information, send us an email or call and tell us, and we'll get it, you know,
Yeah.
changed.
A few times too, I've noticed the calendar or stuff didn't have dates on, you know, on the calendar.
Yeah.
That was stuff that's coming up where.
We try to keep that pretty up, you know, Lynn primarily does most of this, you know, like the weekly updates on there, so, I mean, if somebody's on vacation or something like that, then you might see a little bit, but we try to keep it up to date, like, you know, Gary, with your comment about the wood chips, we can move that up to like the news section or something right now where, you know, brush pickup is, people, you know, we get a lot of questions now about that, we can move that, you know, link to the wood chip page here, or wanna purchase wood chips, you know, click here, and
But
that.
like if you have to make like announcements on the announcements or whatever, you know, can you make it, put in announcements on the front page or not?
Well, we have like there's like the news section, and then there's like a banner up at the top that we can update that, you know, like, I don't know if it flashes, but you see it, and that we can, you know, if there's something you know, like right now I think we're running like brush pickup on there, so when somebody comes out there, they see it right away, here's brush pickup. But if there's like election stuff, we'll throw that up there sometimes. I mean, if there's something that would be important that, you know, we have a windstorm or whatever where we would have to, we can throw stuff up there, but, you know, we usually try to put the most important thing up there most of the time.
I just did a search on, pretending I was a resident,
Yeah.
and went to forums, and if you put wood chips, it takes you right to the forum.
Oh, it does?
Yep.
Okay.
I just went on calendar, January 22nd, of 2022 pops up. It's like, why do we have that far back? It's like,
And that might be too, Brad, the other thing, I can ask Ron if we could do another training,
Yeah.
because,
I know the calendar thing was one of those that has come up in the past, and I think we've called and asked them, and there's like, at least we haven't found a workaround for it.
yeah, because you should be able to say every first and third
Yeah.
Thursday is village board. Every second, that's like automatic, it populates itself, and then if there's a meeting that is normally at a specific time, but I'll call Ron tomorrow, Brad, and see if he can do a training session on that, because Lynn attended one, but to be honest, I think that there's a Google link that has a training
Yeah.
session, because sometimes, some people are getting so much information, it's like, oh my God, and I know I've given things to Lynn that, to be honest, I haven't been on the website a lot, but things I found, I sent it to Lynn, and she changed it, right away.
Yeah, that's what I said, like, if you guys find something that isn't accurate, send it to us, because then, we only have so many eyes, and when I'm out there, I'm not just paging through pages to read, it's more like, you said you're looking for this, you're looking for that, and the way I find, the best way to find stuff is just to search what I'm looking for and look those search results, then hunt and peck and things like that in there. But like I said, if you come across something or somebody calls you and says, hey, this is potentially wrong or this information, let us know, and then we'll get it, we'll get on the list to get it changed as quickly as possible.
Yeah, like the 2003 road work is on there, Brad.
Okay.
We'll just, update that to 2004. The DPW. You know what, Brad, it's silly. I'll look as much as I can while I'm driving back and forth to Madison all weekend. And if we just give it to Lynn and let her know what the information is, she can get it up.
Yeah.
That's on. And then I don't know. Is Facebook the page, is that important to you? Do you think Vernon residents? I've never heard one person complain about the Facebook.
Yeah, as long as I've been here, I've not been on our Facebook page,
Me neither.
and nobody has. There was a password for it, we haven't been able to get onto it. The issue with Facebook nowadays that communities are facing is that it's not necessarily, I don't think it's the issue of the content we're gonna put on there. I don't think it's the issue of the content we're gonna put on there. It's more of, you get it, the comment section that kicks in, is more of the issue at hand, so, I look at our neighbors and what's transpired with their police department. You would be amazed when you get stuff like that goes national, the amount of comments and positive and negative that transpire on there, and once you get these comments, they all become public record. And so it's this morphing thing of how do you manage that, whether you have comments or not. And from my experience, we've always had comments in communities where I've been, but it comes down to this finite line of, if somebody says something that's outlandish, you really don't want to get into a situation where you're commenting back to people, but these comments will be on there, and it's, I don't want to say negative press, but you have to deal with that. So, I'll always defer to you guys. If you want a Facebook page, we'll probably have to do some digging to get Facebook to either reactivate the page we have or create a new one. But if you guys don't want one, it's not there. I mean, there's a variety of means. We don't have a ton of people that call here saying, well, where's your Facebook page? Where is it not? It's just another means for communication.
I don't know how the rest of the board feels, but I'd rather have the staff focus on the website than Facebook, because if they wanna complain about Vernon, there's lots of opportunities for that aspect. Not that I'm encouraging that, but at this point in time, I would like the staff, especially with the limited staff, to concentrate on the website. Does that sound good?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, any other items, gentlemen, on that agenda item? I'm sorry, Brad or Brett, did you want to add anything? If there's anything you want to add, just let me know. So good?
Brett will take care of the Facebook page.
Might be interesting.
Could be all wrestling competence.
The only thing I just wanted to announce is we're still looking for a few more members that are CPAs, auditors, bookkeepers, accounting. If there's anybody that you know that would be interested in serving on the Village of Vernon Finance Committee, just let Brad or I know, so there's really no action on that. There's really no action, but I just wanted to announce to the public, and Brad already sent out the agenda, that the tour for the fire and DPW department on May 7th, the board meeting starts at 6, but the tour is at 5.
Yes,
So we're
so
gonna meet at the fire department?
one,
Is this open to the public, or is
Oh,
this
yeah,
just for us?
It's a-
Okay.
just everybody please drive separately,
Yes.
because we don't want anybody carpooling.
Yeah, you don't, yeah, because you don't wanna break the open meetings law. So we'll have a lot of cars there, so, Brad has it noticed so that when you come there at 5, we'll open it up like a regular board meeting. The fire department's gonna take you around and show you, and then when we come here, Brett and Brad are gonna give tours. I'm gonna pass on that one, because I've seen that, to the public and the board, just so, people know. And when we discuss this item, we're gonna discuss public participation meetings. I mean, this won't be there'll be other opportunities if the public can't make this, but that hopefully we'll schedule those in the discussion. That hasn't been decided by the board, but, it actually should start at 6 p.m., so we're hoping that tour at the fire department, gives Brett time to take you into the DPW. And, I mean, you guys have seen the village facilities, but even the public, when we were doing, voting, they've kind of walked through the village hall and seen the DPW department, but, then Brett can explain what they can and can't do, and Brad can show you how crowded. But I just wanted to announce that to the public. So we're meeting at 5 at the fire department, and then we're coming right back here after that tour. Does that sound good?
Tuesday night.
Tuesday. Does that sound good? Alrighty. The next agenda item, we have an applicant for operator and bartender's license for Brooke Stoll. And Brad has, Brooke submitted, you've seen in the packet that, she has submitted all her certification, and, Brad, she paid her fee, correct? So my motion, we had a motion to approve Brooke L. Stoll's operator bartender license, contingent upon predicated by the fact that the village administrator has said to the board that she has met all her certification payments and qualifications for said license. So I'd make that motion. Is there a second? Second by trustee Newman. Discussion? Discussion, hearing none. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Center Bridge Drive. I just wanted to say to the board, I'm still waiting for the plat map. That would go with the notice intention, and I am also calling. I have called in Racine County, Waukesha County, and Mary Catherine, because she gave me a list of 35 appraisers and 35. So not that I'm being selective, because Brad's going to post this on our website, so anybody that's interested can, put their proposal in too. But I kind of wanted to know who they use. And if Mary Kay can't tell us that, but I know Waukesha County, Racine County are going to give us that information. Brad, do you have anything else in regards to the bridge? We don't have to do the middle. We do not have to do the middle causeway, because it's going to start May 1st. If everything goes well, they've been negotiating back and forth with the DNR, and they're happy with the time frame. I did not hear on the netting of the bridge, but even if it has to be netted, we're going to have the contractor do that, because it's way too difficult for our DPW guys to net that bridge. If we have to, they're still negotiating with that, and I'm still working on that access point, a different area other than the Bartholomew property. So,
Okay.
and Brad was right. They asked me to sign a document. Brad said, we already had that approved, which we approved it twice. I just wanted to make sure that it's the signing for the bridge, the pavement design. I'll sign that today, and then we're going to get that to the engineers. So that's all the news on you don't have anything else, guys? And our staff meeting is Thursday, May 30th at 5 p.m. So if you have any items that you want on the agenda, if you could get those to Brad, that would be great. And then, once Brad has a, like a draft agenda, he'll send that out, and if you think we missed anything, you just gotta let Brad know, and he'll put it on the agenda. So, let's see, Brad, guys, we'll go into our announcements. I just wanted to let the board know that I had my first tour of Hydro X, the building that's now, they're just transferring ownership to Miller Pipeline, who is owned by Atera. That's like the mother company that owns all these companies, but oh my God, that building is unbelievable. That's the first time I was in that building. I was in it when it's under construction. Man, I would love the board to have a tour. It's so impressive. So if I can arrange that, I'd like to get you. Oh, that building's really something else. And the next other announcement I have is I had a request for annexation or transfer of land, and I'm going to send this to the clerk, from Jeff Goodman, the president of the Village of Big Bend, has asked for annexation or transfer of his property into the Village of Vernon, which is right on the border. So I'm going to give that to Brad, and then the next time we talk to the attorney, we'll have to find. I mean, I know, I'm not an expert, but it's my understanding that villages can transfer land, but it has to be approved by both village boards, which for us, I can't tell you how many town residents asked previous boards, to come in, and the village has to approve it. So, we can ask.
We went through the process, or we've gone through the process. All four of you gone through the process except for Jay, but we went through it already this year.
Oh, really? Who?
Well, for High Newman is the process. So the detachment and attachment is a process that,
right.
that that they would have to go through. So.
Yeah, so he'd have to file a formal petition, just like anybody else that does an annexation. It's publicized in the paper, and but I will email that to Brad so that Brad can send it to you guys, so that you can see the request.
Is there a purpose?
You can't talk about it because it's in my report, but when we can talk about it,
Yeah.
we will, and we'll put that on the agenda too, that because not just this one, but High Newman was an example, but that's something good for John to talk to you about on how that could happen. So that's all I have for my announcements. Jay, do you have any announcements?
Sure.
Make sure your microphone's on.
Well, first of all, I'd like to say a big thank you to our, I believe it's called our village adopter road volunteers who keep the village roadways clean. I was out one Saturday and they were working on picking up all the garbage on Skyline Avenue. And like I say, I really appreciate the people that are doing that. And second of all, I think we all got caught by surprise this last Saturday night. We had our first tornado warning come in for the village. I just want to let everybody know that with their cell phones, all tornado warnings will go to your cell phones, and that's the best protection you can have at night, especially if you keep your cell phone right near you when you go to bed. That's the best protection when the radio and television are turned off. And last but not least, how about we all be good neighbors by, if we have yard waste, like let's say leaves and grass clippings, we don't take our yard waste and dump it on someone else's property, like let's say if your lot borders the farmer's field, we don't take and dump it there. We gotta get rid of our own yard waste. That's it.
Thank you, Jay. Trustee Finch, do you have any announcements, reports, or?
Not tonight.
Not tonight.
Nope.
Trustee Newman?
I'm good.
Trustee Millies?
Nothing.
Okay. The only other thing I forgot in my announcements, I'll be right there, is I do have a number, and I'm gonna get that to Brad. When people call and complain about Norris, they always want the board to shut it down. I do have a DPI number that I'm gonna give to Brad that he can give to residents, and, because we can't do anything, but if it's a public institution, and that's where it goes. So that's all I have, and I would turn to Brad. Do you have any announcements?
I don't have anything.
Brett, any announcements, reports?
I guess my monthly report would be, we took all the winter equipment off the trucks, cleaned them up good. Started prepping parks for soccer, baseball. We removed volleyball courts that you guys approved, put some topsoil and some grass seed. just kind of finishing up the last of sod damage that I had, and prepping this week, leading into next week for brush. That's kind of what we've been doing.
Thanks, Brett. So we are on sheriff's report. We put that on there just in case Riley or a sheriff does show up, that it's on the agenda. But their report will come later on, and Brett always puts it in the second week packet along with the fire department's monthly report. So with that, we go into accounts payable for May 2nd, 2024. I know I sent everything was addressed. Anything I had concerns for were addressed. Is there any board members that, well, how about if I do this? I'll make a motion to approve manual checks in the amount of $62,337.22. Is there a second to that motion?
Was that with the $8 in tax removed?
No, you know what, we should pay that and make a note that they're gonna, that's one thing, you have to pay the bill if there's a credit card, but
Okay.
if they, you know, talk to the credit, they've always reimbursed it in the past, but I would approve, you know, that amount with the understanding that they send the tax exempt forms, you know, and then they usually always credit us that.
I'll second it.
Okay, discussion?
I just had a question on that one bill.
The ACS?
Yeah, is that paid quarterly?
No, it's a monthly, so we paid it, last month or last meeting was a manual check, and that's where the outstanding amount was paid, and then the 300 something was would have been for May or.
Right, I downloaded that so we wouldn't, because we keep getting late charges for that.
I couldn't figure out, how we get that amount, yeah.
Yeah, it was for several months, and then, I also, there was not a big deal, but on the Culligan bill, it said, on November of last year and March of this year, and I thought, how the heck, and I called them, it was like for February and March, or, it's for two bills in 2020-24, so it is not a 2020-23 bill. And he said every month, you know, Brad gets an email for $22.96, so, and it usually would come in our second AP. So when I saw that November 2023, I thought, oh my God, but that was wrong.
Okay.
Brad, did you have any comments? Is there anything,
No, I think you guys hit it all. I don't think there was anything further on there.
Is there any further discussion on the accounts payable? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Brad, do you have any manual checks?
Yeah, there's the two manual checks for Conley in the amount of $491.63, and these were for two checks, or a check that was lost, and we have the signed affidavit already returned.
Okay,
That's-
so I would make a motion to approve the manual checks in the amount of $491.63 for, did everybody see those invoices?
The invoice, they have the register. I told them if they want to look at the invoices,
Okay.
they're probably in the stack there.
Okay, I'd make that motion. Is there a second to my motion?
I'll second it.
Second by trustee Finch. Discussion? Discussion, hearing none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Oh, is there any opposed? No opposed? Motion carries. The ACH transactions, I would ask Brad if we could put this on the agenda, you know, and do it through April, if you wouldn't mind, but put the bank statements in.
Yep.
So that, and then what you have to do is Brad's showing you, he would,
Is that a manual check?
no, that was part of the Capital One, that, when they paid that bill.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it
I
wasn't,
remember now.
yeah, it wasn't included, and then,
Gotcha, okay.
so, what the board's job is you're checking what the bank statement says and what's showing in Workhorse.
Okay.
So it would make a motion just to table this item to the next board meeting. Brad, you had April in there, didn't you?
For
In your ACH transaction approval?
No, April was not in there. All of them through March were in there.
You don't have to do, well, we'll just do that, we'll do August till March, and then we'll worry about the other ones after that.
Yeah, I mean, we can get April, and it's not a big deal, but let's get March.
Yeah, because I'd like to, just look at them, and then make that, and then what you do is each month, whatever the accounts, whatever the ACH transactions were, you make a motion for that amount that was on, that's in ACS, they're almost all payroll, items.
Mhm. Yeah, there wasn't any that weren't payroll items.
Yeah, I've never seen, yeah, it's always all payroll, so, but you just wanna verify that. Accounts receivable report, we never do a motion, it's just Brad puts that in there so you can see what are the outstanding invoices, and I can tell you there's a golf course and a restaurant, they always, those bills are for their personal property tax, and you won't see this next year because that's done. But they never pay those two items until they get their liquor license application, they always pay. But there's a couple on there that are,
Okay.
for tax payments that Brad is billing every month. So you don't need a motion, you just, every month we put that in, Brad, just, and, updates on the 2003, 2004 financials. We're still working on reconciling the 2020-23, I'm coming in Monday, Brad, you're in Monday, right? But Brad and I'd like to do, I wanna get this done ASAP, so, Terry can start working on, bank recs in workforce, because, Brad and I have to reconcile 2020-23, get those numbers in that Excel form, combine the numbers and give them to Tammy, that's from workforce, and she's gonna put the beginning balances in, Brad.
Yep.
Any questions on that? So, Brad will give you a report on how we do on Monday. Does that sound good, guys? The 2020-23 audit, Brad, did you send anything to them yet? Did she ask for anything, or?
We haven't sent anything. I'll have Terry start sending her most of the other stuff, and then she at least has that, and we can start uploading stuff.
Okay, and then did you give her the information for the municipal report? That's not till May 15th?
No, it was May 1st, it was sent to her, it was, when you looked in the packet, there looked like the budget, and it had one column highlighted, that's the information that was sent to her, and then, like Karen said, it will be, once the audit's done, they'll amend it.
Oh, I wanted to ask you that workforce report that you had in the packet, was that what report was that?
Which one is,
It was not
with the budget?
Not the budget one. It was, it showed like April in April, the only revenues we had was a check for $2,042, and there was a negative report.
Oh,
So in
yeah.
April, we had no revenues?
I'll look and see, maybe something didn't post or something, I'll have to look and see.
Yeah, because I thought, oh my
I'll
God,
look
we got a bad April.
No, I'll look, we brought in money, I'll look and see. There
Yeah,
must have
just
been
peek
some-
at that,
Yeah, we brought in money, don't worry.
Okay, so we'll get that updated for next report. So now we're on minutes for January 25th, 2020-24. I make a motion to approve those minutes.
Second them with this, subject to, President Carl Fortner being changed to President Karen Chu.
I will be remaining absent because I wasn't here.
Oh, that's right, you can abstain from the vote if you don't feel comfortable.
Yes,
That's
I'll
absolutely
abstain
fine.
because I was not here.
Okay,
Everything after, since I.
yep. Further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. The other thing I have to say about the next minutes, Brad, on the items where it says no action was taken, a lot of times there was nothing in the packet for the board to even make a motion on. I mean, it says no action was taken. And then on almost every motion, the agenda item is on the motion, and then there's discussion after the motion.
Yeah.
Don't you normally put that? You
I think
discuss-
those might have been the ones Sue did, so,
They're all like that, all.
all of them were?
And there's, yeah, they're all, and she's got the, you always bold or italicize and underline the motion, where this is the discussion, the motion are all in one, so it's really,
Okay, I'll look
I
and see.
mean, I don't know.
If you just wanna table them and have me look
Do
at
you
them,
mind,
okay.
because I found a bunch of typos, like.
I'll go back and look at those. I
Okay,
mean, look-
For March 7th.
Yeah, the next, if you don't mind, the next four, we'll put them on the next agenda, because, I just wanna show, and that's real easy for Sue to, exit out, put up a front, unbold, just, and then I can give her all the typos, Brad, is that okay?
Okay.
Okay, so we're just gonna table, March 7th, 21st, April 4th, and 18th till the, May 16th meeting. Is there a motion I made that motion, is there a second? Second by trustee Newman, discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Our next board meeting is the 16th of May. We have a board and, we have our facility, tour beginning at 5, and then, I'm hoping we're gonna be back here and done by 6 PM to do our regular meeting with Keller Builders and Justin Fisher from Baird. May 8th is our Village Board and Plan Commission meeting at 6 PM. Open book is June 11th from 9 AM to 1 PM. So we're encouraging any resident that has an issue related to their assessment to please email, call, get in touch with that assessor. That's very, very important. Next Village Board meeting is June 6th and 20th, and Board Review is June 27th from 5 to 7 PM. With that, I would entertain a motion to go into closed session pursuant to 19.85 paren 1 paren C as read by the village president and stated on the agenda. Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion.
Trustee Newman, is there a second to Trustee Newman's motion?
I'll second.
Trustee Pecca. We have a motion made and seconded. Brad, could you do the roll call vote?
President Shu,
Aye.
Trustee Pecca,
Here.
Trustee Finch,
Here.
Trustee Newman,
No, you're saying aye, not here. If you want to go into closed session, you need to say
Oh,
aye.
aye.
Trustee Millies.
Subject to a 2-minute break, I think I used that.
Okay.
Note for the record that there was a unanimous vote by roll call vote, verbal, that the village board decided to go into closed session. And I know, it's my understanding we need a 2-minute break, so Brad, are you gonna take us off? And just state to the public, we won't make any decisions in closed session. We'll follow the law.